Is this a book video or is this a crochet video? Well, I think it's actually a bit of both, actually. So I spent several hours today on a reading sprint on a channel called Book Nerd. I believe the lady who runs it is Margaret. I'm terrible at names. But what's important is that she is doing a genre blanket. And I've heard people mentioning this idea of a genre blanket for a while now. And it sounds intriguing. So we were chatting about it during the chatty bits and the reading sprints. And I decided, hey, I might as well try one. So I set up my coding for my genre blanket during those sprints while listening to my audiobook. Audiobook, by the way, Women at 1000 Degrees by Helgrimer Helgason. Very good. Highly recommended. Probably a solid 5 stars. And definitely one of my better books for the year already. Yay. But back to my blanket. So I've set up a blanket that's basically 3 colors plus some accents. So the main colors are fiction, nonfiction, and other. The other being drama and poetry. I may split those two into 2 separate colors because I have tan and green that I have not brought into the rotation yet, that I could use one of those, probably the green, as the other, like drama or poetry. I have this lovely, it's a horrible white balance on this video, but this is kind of a salmony pink, nowhere near as pale as the video is going to make it look. I've got a rich sort of periwinkle blue, and you'll notice this is baby yarn. So I'm doing Sport DK weight yarn. For those of you that do stitching and are thinking about doing a project like this, I'm going with a finer yarn than I normally use for a blanket. So I'm using baby yarn. I don't remember how many stitches I started with. I did a foundation single crochet row to start it, so not a foundation chain. And this is the stitch pattern I've started with. So I did 2 rows of single crochet to start, and then I'm doing a V-stitch, but instead of just double crochets for the V's, I'm doing crochet 2 together, or double crochet 2 together. So it makes a little bit fatter, a little bit more like petals. And then on the pass going back to the beginning, I'm doing single crochets, and that's where the coding for the ratings comes in. This first book was fantasy science fiction, so the stitch pattern is this double crochet 2 together V-stitch. That's for fantasy or science fiction. And then the next row going back is going to be just in the same color, so this yellow, because it was a 3.5 rating. So it's not going to get a different color for that back pass. If it was a terrible book, and I will have one, let's see where I put that. There we go. If it's a terrible book, I have this kind of grayish blue color that will go across the back pass doing the single crochets. And if it's a really great book, so a 4 to 5 star rating, then it will be this shiny white with sparkles baby yarn. Or white just in general. I'm trying to use up stuff in my stash. So that's the plan. I have different stitch patterns for the different subgenres in fiction and nonfiction. So if it's specifically a crime or thriller novel, it will be a fan stitch. So for both the fans and the fat V's, I'm alternating the complicated stitch with just a double crochet, so it's spaced out nicely. So it'll be fans with double crochets in between them. Probably 5, maybe 7 double crochets. I haven't done a row of that yet. I will get there soon. I'm almost done with my first mystery of the year. And then the other category that's separate for fiction will be short stories. For the short stories, I'm going to be doing a more complicated row where it's going to be the yellow, but then with a row of this white making popcorns that get embedded, so it's just like polka dots within the yellow. I've been obsessed with that. It was in one of the Crochet Crowd projects last year, and I loved it. So I'm going to be doing that. I used to hate popcorns. In that technique, I like popcorns. So then poetry, I'm using the popcorn stitches, but just in the color that's the poetry color. And then the dramas, the plays, is going to be the fat V stitches. Right now, those are both the same color, just different stitch patterns. In nonfiction, I have general nonfiction, that's just half double crochets. And general fiction is also just half double crochets. And I haven't decided yet if it's just going to be 2 rows, so half double crochet both passes, or if it's going to be half double crochet and then a single crochet back. Because you can do it where you adjust how you work the second row on top of those half double crochets to make a line, which looks kind of cool, gives it a little more texture. And then for biographies and autobiographies, I'm going to do the fan stitch. Remember, this is in a different color, so fans, 2 different colors. And then the history is the fat V stitches in the nonfiction color. So it's actually not that complicated. It's only using 3 stitch patterns, and then that one fancy popcorn technique. And I'll probably do that same popcorn technique for any books of essays or short nonfiction collections. I don't read a lot of those, but I think I have a few in my shelves still that I will be reading. And I suppose actually technically I do have one in my current TBR for the month, because the Sources of Chinese Tradition is a collection of short fragments of nonfiction. So that one may actually be the white popcorns on the base color background. The base color being this blue, probably. I haven't absolutely set whether the blue or the peach or salmon is going to be the nonfiction, because I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't finished a nonfiction yet. And it depends kind of on how much I've got. This right now is my only skein of baby yarn in this blue, so I'd have to get more. While I have quite a lot of the salmon, but it's a different kind of yarn, and I think it's discontinued. If I need more of it, I'm not going to get more of it. I'm going to have to switch to, probably, there is a salmon color in the same brand as the blue. So I haven't gotten that far yet. The other bit of my plan that we discussed actually during the sprints was, what do you do if, like me, you read a lot of books? And there was one person on there that also has that problem, and she just made 2 blankets. I think I'm going to go with that solution. When it gets too big, I'm just going to switch. And that's also why I'm doing something where it's multiple rows per book, because I don't really care if it gets bigger at this rate, because I can switch to a new blanket. And if I really think that I need to cut it back to 1 row per book, I can do that on the next blanket. So that is my genre blanket crochet project. Are you doing a genre blanket, or a genre scarf, or what are you doing for this lovely concept of book logging in crochet or knit? There was someone that was thinking about doing a 10-stitch knit blanket for theirs. Yeah, if you're doing a genre blanket of some sort, let me know. And what are you using? And I'm using an H crochet hook. I like hooks that are not too small for the yarn, which for me is actually usually a little bit bigger than what most people use. So my typical hook for standard yarn is always a J or K. For baby yarn, H is about the comfort spot for me. I tried a G. It was really too tight for me. So that's what I'm using. I will show you when I do my weekly reading updates how my blanket is coming along as well, because that fits in really nicely with that. I'm going to try and keep up with it, and hopefully I will have at least one, maybe 2 or 3 blankets by the end of the year that come out of my reading. So I will catch you guys again soon. It is the 4th, so we have a couple more days before the end of the week of week 1 of 2024 and my first weekly reading update. Catch you again soon, guys. Bye!